Hey guys, I'm Joanne, and you are listening to The Raw Reality. In this episode, I am going to talk about autism. Many people may not know that my daughter Emma, who is 2 years old, was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and an unspecified communication disorder. She has been attending behavioral therapy sessions 5 days a week, along with speech therapy and ABA session once a week. When my husband and I received the news of our daughter's diagnosis earlier this year, it was a tough and heartbroken moment. We knew we would be overwhelmed by the challenges and responsibilities that come with raising a child with autism, including finding therapies and treatments to help her succeed. We were managing our emotions as this development changed the life of our daughter and our little family. We were grieving the life we had imagined for her. We felt a deep sense of sadness and guilt, blaming ourselves, like our age and medical conditions, particularly my husband's history of stroke, believing that all these might have contributed to her autism diagnosis. Our minds were filled with countless thoughts about what could have caused it. But we've come to understand that this is just life. There is no one to blame, nothing to blame. There's no connection to the things we were worrying about. God knows our lives, and He has gifted us a beautiful firstborn daughter, trusting us to be the best parents she could ever have. Our daughter's growth and development weren't on the same level as other children her age. There were behavioral issues, speech delays, and communication challenges. She had her dislikes and other struggles that we had to navigate. We were in denial, believing that she was simply going through a phase like all children do, and that she would outgrow it with time. The diagnosis of autism in our family was unexpected, as we had no prior knowledge or experience with it. Back then, our parents didn't have any access to the resources we have today. Children like us were simply labeled as slow. I myself was the slow kid while growing up. Now let's go back to when my daughter was 16 months old, before her diagnosis. She was already attending to daycare full time. The daycare had someone from an early learning program conduct a ASQ3 screening on her. ASQ stands for Ages and Stages Questionnaire, which is used to assess developmental progress in children. The results show that my daughter was lagging behind. The upsetting part was that my husband and I were not prepared to hear the results, as we hadn't been informed that the screening was being done and didn't know anything about ASQ. I know the daycare care about my daughter's progress, so I can't be upset about that. However, we felt heartbroken hearing the upsetting news for the first time, unexpectedly learning that our daughter was not developing on schedule. They suggested we reach out to her pediatrician for the next steps. The unexpected news ruined our day, pretty much the rest of our day. And the ASQ results showed that our daughter was below average in all areas, which is communication, gross motor skills, fine motor skills, problem solving, and personal social development. We asked others for opinion, advices, and we have consulted pediatrician about this. Her pediatrician suggested we have her evaluated for autism. We didn't believe she had autism or showed any signs of it, so we delayed it for a few months and see how things go. If you look at my daughter, you wouldn't even be able to tell she has autism. She was full of energy, wild, made contact, and was always a happy child. However, she does show delays in speech, not much in communication skills. She was picky about certain things and have some behavioral concerns. We thought she was just developing at her own pace and would outgrow out of it. When our daughter turned 2, my husband and I looked at each other and said, hey, you know what? Let's do the autism testing and see how things go. Having a 2-year-old who hadn't made much progress raised certain concerns for us. There were so many questionnaires and tests to be completed before our daughter could be fully evaluated. On the day of the autism evaluation, the process was quite extensive, lasting a couple hours. It was an intense experience for my husband and me as we had to observe our child being assessed, witnessing her tantrums too. Our newborn baby was just about a few months old. She was with us and observing her sister. I felt the evaluation process seemed to be rushed at times because they moved quickly from one scenario to another. My daughter wasn't used to this new environment. After the evaluation, we were given the news right there in the room. Our daughter was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder level 2 and an unspecified communication disorder. We didn't fully understand that there are different levels of autism. Our daughter was in the middle. We now know that we have to ensure she receives all the necessary support and resources to help her thrive. So after my daughter was diagnosed with autism, I remember the first time she had to have blood drawn. The procedure involved inserting a needle into her arm and collecting 4 to 5 tubes of blood, which understandably caused her significant discomfort. Hearing her screams as a parent was heartbreaking. Our newborn daughter, Ella, was just a few months old at the time, waiting outside with my husband. He later told me that Ella began to cry and looked around when she heard her sister cries. My husband saw it was a sweet moment. Our newborn daughter seems to be sympathizing with her older sister's screams. The blood tests were to check for any extra chromosomes and other abnormal things. Thankfully, all the tests came out normal, and I thank God that everything turned out to be fine. Emma has been receiving the necessary resources, and I thank God for being able to provide this for her. I feel so blessed to have excellent health insurance that covers all the necessary tests, therapies, and future treatments. Emma originally started with weekly speech therapy sessions, then we added ABA therapy sessions, and now we've incorporated daily behavioral sessions. So far, she has been improving, but we are still looking forward to see even more progress. So I'm happy with that. I have been in a autism support group that helps me tremendously to understand where I'm coming from and understand where everyone else that have kids with autism coming from. Everyone is there in that group to listen, to support, to trade ideas, share experiences, and references. None of my immediate family has autism, so it is pretty great to talk to people who can relate to me and that I am not alone. My husband and I's schedule has been a handful on top of everything else life has thrown at us. My husband and I have faced many challenges, but we've overcome life obstacles and will continue to thrive. We always stay strong and support each other. Without God, none of this would be possible. All right, guys, that's all for today about autism. I wanted to share this Bible verse. Isaiah 41, verse 10. Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. All right, guys, thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.